Alright guys, today we're going to be installing some Terraflex front coil spring spacers. They're 1-inch spacers because we're trying to level the Jeep out. Front sits a little bit low, so the 1-inch spacer should help with that. Ooh, we got the Poison Spider rock slider little inserts. I painted those orange. I sent the rock sliders themselves off to powder coat. They were silver, they were powder coated silver before. So instead of me trying to clean them up myself and then paint over them with black paint, it was cheap enough to where it was worth powder coating them. So they're off at the powder coaters. Hopefully we'll get those back next week. That way these can go back on those and then both of them can go back on the Jeep. I think it's gonna look really good. Let me know what you think in the comments. My girlfriend thinks that it's gonna look funky. She's not a fan of orange, but I disagree. So, oh, almost fell over. So we're gonna install those coil spacers, and then we've got some Amazon special hockey pucks, 1-inch hockey pucks. I need to up the bump stop spacer on the axle side in the front about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches. Because after I put on the new Terraflex shocks, I got a little bit of a longer shock. That way I could get more down travel, and the shock bottoms out just barely. It barely misses the bump stop in there. So I need to up that about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna do that with the hockey pucks. I'll show you guys how to do that. And yeah, I think that's it for the projects today. Also, if you're worried about shock travel, the extra 1-inch spacer that's going to go in the front is going to help with the limited up travel that this currently has. So here we go. It's pouring rain today. All right, y'all, got the springs out, got the old bump stops unbolted. It's weird. On the passenger side, you had one full, solid 2-inch bump stop, and the driver's side, it's the same bump stop, but somebody had cut the boy in half. You can tell it was cut in half because you see the rough saw marks. It wasn't just two separate machined pieces. So what we're gonna do with these, we're gonna take the hockey pucks and we're gonna drill a hole in them just like this one has, just a single hole, and then we'll just add that to the bottom of each of these for each side. And we're gonna have to find some longer hardware, but got lots of bolts, lots of nuts and bolts in there. So I'm gonna get back to it. All right, I don't know how the video is gonna sound or the audio is gonna sound right now because I've got the little tripod weird leg stand thing. Got 2 legs wrapped around my neck with the phone sitting on its mouth. So my mouth is super close to the phone, but this is actually not a bad shot. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna drill this hockey puck out. I'm gonna set her up in the vise. Squeeze it down nice and light. It's rubber. You don't want to deform it too much. I'm gonna pull out a drill bit. This thing is about the same size. Yep. We'll go pop a battery in the drill. We go. Nice and easy. All right, boys and girls, we got the boys drilled out, but of course the bolts, like we said, were going to be too short. So I found some spare bolts. I believe these are bolts out of the upper control arms from my last Jeep JK build. So I'm using these, but in order to use these, I had to drill out all of these to a 1/2 inch diameter hole, but they're just long enough. Now they're not long enough to where I can get a nut on the back side of the axle when I put the bolt through. So I'm gonna have to drill and tap the top of the axle to the correct tap size. So I have a tap kit, and it looks like these bolts are an M12 by 1.5. Let's see if it'll focus. M12 by 1.5. If you set it up to the threads on the bolt, the pitch matches perfectly, the size matches perfectly, so that's what it is. So I had to look up on a drill and tap chart, size drill calls for a 413 diameter hole before it's tapped. So the 413 is basically going to be the minor diameter of the tap. So I've got a step drill bit, and we're going to drill it out to, oh, where is it? Focus. It's not going to focus. Oh well. We're going to drill out to 1330 seconds, which is about 4 steps in from the top. You can kind of see it. Not really. Oh well. So we're going to drill it out. Then we're going to top it with that. And then we should be ready to slide the spacers in and slide the springs on, slide the pucks in. All right, guys. Just want to show you something real quick. So the 2-inch spacer is too big to fit in between the coil spring once it's on there, like I did with the other side. So what I did was, I put it in there before, and then I zip tied it up so it stays up out of the way. And I'll cut the zip tie, and then it'll fall on the mount, and then I can put the hockey puck in between here because it's small enough. It can go right underneath, and then we're good. Little pro tip. In the beginning of this clip, you can see that I'm struggling a little bit to get this last spring on its seat. So I tried prying it, I tried pressing the axle down, using my body between the fender flare and the axle. Didn't work, so I eventually just got a ratchet strap, strapped it to the shock tower, and compressed the spring enough to get it in there. That was the biggest pain. That was like the hardest spring to get into its seat that I've ever done on a Jeep. That wasn't a Cherokee. And then just popped the track bar back on and both sway bar links. Here she is, all bolted back together. She's level now, boys and girls. She's all level. Still got plenty of clearance from the bump stops at ride height. We got a little bit more shock shaft. Overall, pretty happy with the setup so far, with how it leveled it out and the amount of clearance between the bump stop and bump stop spacer that I've got. Last thing to do today is to trace down an airline leak for, I think it's my rear locker. There's a hole in the airline somewhere down in that vicinity. And after that, I'm done for the day. So I think I'm gonna just end the video here. If you guys like this Jeep content, if you like this Jeep, you should definitely get subscribed and then look back for more Jeep related videos. I'm gonna go wheeling tomorrow, so I might have a little bit of footage from that, but that's it for today, guys. See you later.